I don't know what the Cursed Eye YouTube channel is.
Hey curslings! Today we are talking about this mad mama and her eldest child, Jaxx. As early last week, Veronica decided to block him. Why? You might be wondering. Well, it's all because Jaxx wouldn't allow his mother to continue to call him by his old name.
My mom doesn't talk to me anymore because I wanted her to use Jaxx and not my name that she gave me.
According to Jaxx, they fought about his identity and preferences for 2 days.
It was literally like 2 days of her like insulting my name and sexuality and identity, and I was just like, oh, awesome.
And that part of the reason why Veronica was upset that he even changed his name was because she supposedly put a lot of thought into his name.
Why does my mom refuse to use my name? Well, because she said she put a lot of thought into my original name that she gave me. So she doesn't want to use my preferred name because it's not my name.
Even though she was like 15 when she named him, so.
The reason why I always wanted a daughter named Victoria is because my mother said that I was supposed to be named Victoria, but she had a C-section and she was still all loopy when she filled out the birth certificate. She couldn't remember what she wanted to name me. She just knew that it started with a V, so she named me Veronica.
What thought?
Putting a lot of thought as an excuse when she was 14 is crazy. Yeah. Like, she was still a kid, so it's weird to me.
Jaxx also said that Veronica mocked his sexuality, calling him a, quote, fake gay for liking girls despite never having actually been with one before.
Basically, the last 2 days we talked to each other was her basically like mocking me for wanting to change my name and for the fact that I'm bisexual but I've never actually been with a girl because I was with a boy first. So she was like mocking me for that and like being like, well, you're just a fake gay then. And I'm like, girl, being gay does not determine how many people you've kissed of the same sex or gender or anything like that. So like, I don't know where you're going with that.
To which I say, the fuck? And that she told him that she didn't have a son named Jaxx. She has a daughter.
So she doesn't support me and no, she actually said that specifically that she doesn't have a son named Jaxx. She has a daughter named, you know, my dead name. And I was like, oh, all right. Sick.
Rancid. Absolutely a rancid thing to tell your child. And, because of course there's more, that Veronica wondered if she changed her name to something like Aunt Mildred, if people would call her that if she asked them to.
She actually told me that it was silly to use a name that I assigned myself, and that if she wanted to be called Aunt Mildred, would that mean that we call her Aunt Mildred?
The answer, by the way, is yes, because most people tend to be respectful of other people's choices.
Well, if that's what you want to go by, yeah, I'll call you Aunt Mildred, I guess.
Then again, a lot of people tend to have an emotional depth that is deeper than a pothole. So, naturally, since Veronica has decided to be disrespectful to her son's identity, the internet has decided in kind to lean into malicious compliance and refer to her as Aunt Mildred, whether she likes it or not.
Start calling her Aunt Mildred to be petty. If I weren't blocked, I would.
Anyway, when it became clear that Jaxx wasn't going to let Aunt Mildred disrespect him, she accused him of bullying her.
Because she didn't want to call me Jaxx, and I told her that I expected her to respect me, and she was like, well, you're bullying me.
And then blocked him on all social media, Facebook, TikTok, everywhere.
Did she tell me that she was going to block me, or did I discover that I was blocked? I just discovered it, because I noticed that I was missing a friend on my Facebook, and I was like, oh, what happened there? And it was my mom, and I was like, oh. And then I was blocked on everything, including TikTok, which is crazy work, but whatever.
Because that's the mature response, right? No. Now, this decision to block her son would come as a surprise to Jaxx.
I've fought many times that she never blocked me. This is the first for me, so I've never been blocked by my mom. So,
as he said that it was something he never thought she would do, let alone over something as low impact as him changing his name.
Blocking me is a little bit extra over a name, I fear. Either way.
Understandably, after their blowout, Jaxx took to TikTok to vent, where he made a series of posts about their fight and how it felt to be disrespected by a parent, as you do. These TikToks quickly drew the attention of Veronica's anti-community, aka Reddit, who showed up in force to express their sympathy, support, and frustration on his behalf. In his comments, Jaxx would answer some questions about the situation and his mother before deciding to go live on Saturday. But before we get into the juicy meat of that 3-hour live stream, some minor disclaimers. First, because of the length of Jaxx's live stream, I have made the decision to only include the parts that are relevant to this mad mama and her platform, as Jaxx has expressed discomfort with the spotlight his mother's social media has thrust him and his siblings into, for better or worse.
Was it ever uncomfortable to see so many people curious about you and your siblings' lives? Yeah, it was. It definitely was. Like, wait, are we animals in a zoo now, or what? Why is everyone so curious? Especially from, like, other countries where they come over and, like, I don't know, it was a little bit weird.
And because he has said that he prefers to be viewed and treated as a regular person, as just a normal human being. He has also stated that he is super against family vlogging.
How do I feel about family vlogging? Ugh, I hate family vlogging. I think that it's such a red flag, and I've seen almost no large family creators, sir, who were not suspicious about their family vlogging.
And that his final straw living with his mother was the fact that people knew where they lived.
What made me move? People being weird and knowing where we lived, and I just felt like it wasn't safe there anymore.
And that he was tired of the weirdos in their city.
And action. I don't know, they were recording us, so we're recording them right back.
Who'd like to drive by and yell obscenities at his siblings.
My final straw was probably the weirdos in our city shouting weird shit at my siblings, and I was like, yeah, I don't want to raise my daughter in this.
For obvious reasons, he didn't feel like that was a safe environment to raise his daughter in.
Good for you for getting safety for your daughter. Yeah, I didn't really like that, the kids would play outside at my mom's house and people would drive by and shout shit at us, so I didn't want that to happen to my kid too.
So last November, Jaxx and his boyfriend moved out.
My oldest recently moved out, leaving her very large bedroom unoccupied.
In fact, protecting his privacy, the privacy of his siblings, his partner, and especially his 2-year-old daughter is paramount to Jaxx. That said, if you're into role-playing games like Dungeons & Dragons, Skyrim, Baldur's Gate 3, cartoons like Futurama, metal music, piercings and tattoos, etc., you might enjoy his content. In which case, I strongly encourage you to give him a follow over on TikTok and support him and his partner's 3D printing business, so long as you are respectful of him and his boundaries. Which brings me to my final actual disclaimer. Jaxx recently came out as trans mask. His pronouns are he, him, or they, them, and he does not go by the name Veronica gave him. Sorry, Aunt Mildred gave him. Nor does he appreciate people dead naming him. That means using his old name. The reason I'm even bringing this up is to make sure that you, my sweet, wonderful curselings, do not misgender him or dead name him, as I will not be tolerating any transphobic or anti-LGBTQIA plus sentiments in my comment section. So be cool and everything will be cool. Cool. With that out of the way, let's get into it because there is a lot of ground to cover, beginning with Aunt Mildred. Now, throughout his live stream, Jaxx fielded a deluge of questions about his mom, who he says he's not really that close with anymore. Gee, I wonder why.
Am I close with my mom? You guys, no.
In fact, prior to being blocked by his mother, Jaxx said that she wasn't really keeping him up to date on what was going on anyway.
I'm not close with my mom. Not at all, not really. My mom's doing her own thing. I don't really know what she's doing lately. She wasn't really updating me much on anything except for things that I really didn't care to be updated on, and it made me kind of salty because I would ask important things and she'd just be like, me, gonna ignore that.
And that when she did update him, that it was about things he didn't care about.
My mom, I would ask for updates and I would get ignored, and then she'd tell me about something stupid later, and I was kind of salty about it.
Adding later in his live stream that the things that Aunt Mildred did tend to want to talk about with him was usually men.
So I know her house is getting condemned. I don't know. She's been so, like, vague lately about because I would ask her questions about it, and she would just, like, not really answer me, you know what I mean? So she would, like, avoid it and be like, so this guy, and I'd be like, Lord, can you just answer the question I asked?
Jaxx also said that he thought it was quite messed up that his mother was even interested in men, while her children are currently in foster care.
What's your opinion on my mom going out and dating while her kids are in foster care? Oh, I hate it. Hate it. I think that it's dumb, and she should not focus on males.
A sentiment that I'm sure most of us will agree with, because yeah, it's super yuck. When he was asked if he thought his mother was trying enough, Jaxx said this.
I think my mom is trying enough. That's a difficult one to answer.
Adding later on that he definitely thinks that his mother has changed.
Has my mom changed this year? Yeah, a lot. Probably not for the better. My mom definitely went in a weird direction. I don't know.
He also said that he didn't realize just how stressful or toxic it had been living there until he moved out.
Am I glad I'm on my own? Yes, most definitely. Didn't realize how stressful it was there until I left for good, basically.
And agreed that the household really went downhill after he left.
The household really went downhill when I left. Yeah, really goes to show who the glue was. I really did keep the family together. I tried so hard. Like, as soon as I left, everything went to shit.
Jaxx also responded to several questions about Aunt Mildred's work history and her current unwillingness to get a job. According to Jaxx, his mom actually did have a stable job when he was a kid.
Has my mom ever had a stable job? Yeah. My mom had a stable job for quite a few years. She used to work at the mall, and she would write names on Christmas ornaments. And so she worked there for quite a while. I practically grew up in our local malls.
He also felt like she was a better mom when he was younger, in part because she was still working at that time.
Was she a better mom when I was younger? Yeah. Back when she worked at the mall, she was a pretty good mom. I don't really know what happened.
And that things seemed to change when he was around 13 or 14 or so.
But as soon as it was like, I don't know, it was probably like 13, 14, she kind of changed.
As to why Veronica refuses to get a job now, Jaxx couldn't say.
Why doesn't my mom have a job? I don't know, because she has health problems. Which she does. She does have health problems, but like...
As apparently there are plenty of jobs in the Fulton area that she could easily do, even with her health issues.
She blames her health, but there's a lot of really easy jobs over in that town, so I'm not sure.
So it seems like there really isn't any excuse for her not to be working. Regarding money, Jaxx said that Veronica wasn't always bad with it.
Has she always been bad with money? No. She was not that bad with money.
However, he did feel like she was irresponsible with the money she has made through her TikTok and other social media.
Do I agree with how she was spending the money she made? Like, the money she made off TikTok? Because, no. I told her she probably should be spending it a little more wisely.
He also said that she does tend to be impulsive when it comes to money in general.
But my mom's impulsive, so if she has money, she's gonna go on shopping sprees.
And that as a child, he was hyper aware of their financial situation and ongoing money struggles.
Did you feel like money was usually running tight? Yeah. I was way too hyper aware of our financial burdens way too young, so.
He also agreed that the situation with the house likely would have been different if his mother had been better with money.
Do you think the household situation would be different if she was more financially stable? Or responsible, sorry. Yeah. Probably.
So, to me, it sounds like, yes, she is absolutely bad with money, but that there may have been a time where it seemed like she was trying to be responsible, but that time has clearly passed. As for the house, Jaxx couldn't really give much of an update on it, mostly because his mom wouldn't tell him anything when they were on speaking terms.
So I know her house is getting condemned. I don't know. She's been so, vague lately.
When asked why he paid for half of the house back in 2020, Jaxx said it was because he didn't really have a choice.
Did you want to buy that house with your mom, or did she make you feel obligated to? Well, I didn't want to be homeless, so,
As his siblings needed a place to live, and he'd rather they lived there than become homeless.
Do I regret helping her buy the house? No, because my siblings needed a place to live. And I would rather them there than homeless and living in basements or on couches.
As to whether Aunt Mildred ever paid him back for the $10,000 he contributed to the purchase of that house, the answer is no.
Did she buy me out of the house? What does that mean? No.
She has never paid him back.
I was not paid back $10K. That's crazy. I don't know why she said that.
At least not with money. As Jaxx says that his mother's idea of paying someone back is by buying them food and gifts.
Well, see, she's the kind of person who thinks that, paying you back in, food or, gifts is, paying you back. So...
Oh, and of course, letting him live there rent-free.
Did she pay me back? Yeah, I lived there. That was me paying paid back.
Wow, that's a garbage deal. Jaxx also confirmed that the house was being fixed up the entire time he lived there.
Is everything in the house going to get fixed? Depends, because we were fixing it up the whole time we were living there, pretty much.
But that he was unsure if the house could be salvaged now.
Is the house salvageable? I'm not sure.
Jaxx also said that he was unaware that the house had lead to begin with.
I didn't even know the house had lead like that, so until I was told later.
Or if his mother had managed to remediate it yet.
I don't know if she got the lead thing situated because I haven't lived there in a good minute. She don't update me on that.
The answer to that question, by the way, is still a resounding no. Veronica has not removed the lead from the house yet, as she has said multiple times that CPS will not help fix the lead until her roof is up to code. Jaxx was also unsure if there was black mold in the house or if anyone had experienced mold poisoning.
Did the house have mold, and do you think anyone had mold poisoning? I'm not sure.
He also had no information about what's going on with the roof currently.
Why can't she afford a roof with all the donation money? I don't really know what her donations are for.
Or the GoFundMe, as he wasn't involved in that stuff before he was blocked.
Where did all the GoFundMe money go? I'm not sure. I don't know what she's doing with her GoFundMes because I don't really talk to her about the GoFundMes because I'm not there. And she doesn't really talk to me about that kind of stuff.
But obviously that the situation with the house possibly being condemned isn't ideal. Likely because it puts his siblings into the same situation he was trying to avoid back in 2020, so yeah.
I'm not sure if my mom's house is going to be condemned, and now I guess I won't know unless I keep up with my siblings, so.
Jaxx also said that he has no idea what will happen with the court date, which he assumed was regarding the roof.
Today's court date, I don't know, probably for the roof, but I don't know. She never really talked about that much.
It is. And that he was unsure if he still owned the house that he paid $10,000 for.
Do I still own the house like my mom's house? Maybe? I don't know. I don't really want that house though, so.
He does not. I've seen the property records. Aunt Mildred and the abuser are the ones on the deed and the property taxes, not Jaxx, which is honestly great for him because he really does not need to be attached to that lemon of a property, in my opinion. Regarding his siblings, Jaxx was intentionally cagey about their situation as he didn't feel comfortable speaking on their behalf.
Do my other siblings feel the same way I do? Well, I can't really speak for them. I'm not them. But, and also that's kind of our business.
Or about their current living arrangements, feelings, etc.
Again, I don't really want to speak too much on the sibling foster care situation because that's kind of personal, and I don't really want to talk about their lives or their issues or anything like that, because that's their business and not really something that I want to make public too much, you know what I mean?
He did confirm, though, that he is in contact with the oldest 5, mostly because they have phones and social media.
Do I know if my siblings are okay? Well, I do talk to like half of them, the ones that have socials.
He also said that they do update him about what's going on from time to time, but only when he asks, which he doesn't do that often because he doesn't want to add to their current stress levels.
Your siblings don't update you? Well, they do, but only when I ask, usually because the situation is stressful for everybody, so I don't really want to bombard my siblings with a bunch of questions when that should have been my mom's job to answer me.
Which is totally understandable. He also confirmed that Adam is still living at home as far as he knows.
Is Adam at home? I believe so, yeah.
But when it came to his 4 youngest siblings, Jaxx admitted that he hasn't spoken to them since they entered foster care.
How's Modi and Donovan? I don't know. I wish I did. I asked about them several times and I didn't get any answers that I needed, and now I'm blocked, so.
And that not knowing how his siblings are doing has been really hard.
It's hard not knowing how some of my siblings are doing. Yeah.
Especially when it comes to his brother D, who he says he hasn't had any updates on all year, including if his cancer is still in remission. He doesn't know.
Any idea if Donnie is still in remission? I don't know, and I really wish I knew more about what Donnie was dealing with, because I have not gotten to have any updates on him in close to, I don't know, but basically all year. It's insane to me that it's actually November now, because
he also says that no one has provided him with the foster family's contact information so that he can arrange a Skype call or something similar, something that he very much would like to do.
I would like to set up a Zoom call, but I was never actually given any information on who has the littles, so I tried to ask for numbers and stuff, and nobody gave it to me.
Jaxx also said that he was surprised that his siblings were taken into care in the first place, as it wasn't something he ever wanted to see happen.
Were you surprised when they were taken into care? Well, yeah, because that's not something I wanted to happen.
But he agreed that his siblings in foster care do look much healthier since leaving his mother's care.
Do you think the kids are healthier or look healthier? Currently, yeah, I would say.
As for his siblings not in high school, Eminem, Jaxx said that he didn't know how they were doing.
How's Marvelous? I haven't seen him in a minute, so how's Martalia doing? I don't know.
As he has no way to contact the kids that do not have social media or phones.
Are my siblings allowed to have social media? Yeah, they all have social media except for like the littles.
Now, obviously, there has been a lot of speculation in both this Mad Mama's and Jaxx's comment sections, as well as on Reddit, about whether or not Aunt Mildred still has custody of the 5 older kids. Currently, we don't know. And frankly, it's perfectly fine that we don't. That said, I also understand that people are going to wonder and even speculate because the kids have been featured a lot in Aunt Mildred's content, including in her recent live streams back in October. So I don't blame anyone for wondering if they're still even there or if Aunt Mildred's manipulating the truth again, because she's done that a lot too. And based on her latest cooking vlog, where she seemed to be making cabbage soup specifically for herself because it's good for renal issues, and how Jaxx has responded to questions about whether the kids are still at home, even though he hasn't technically confirmed or denied anything, I'm inclined to believe that they have been removed. But who knows? The best we can hope for, regardless, is that wherever they are, that they're thriving. As for Aunt Mildred's platform, Jaxx said that he felt like her notoriety had gone to her head.
What do you think changed your mom? I don't know. I think the TikTok fame kind of got to her head.
And that it definitely impacted her mental health.
Do you think mom being on TikTok made her mental health worse? Yeah. I think the sudden, I don't want to say fame, but fame got to her head.
He also said that his mother truly believes that she's famous.
Does my mom read the Reddit? Probably not. She doesn't associate the haters because she thinks that she's famous.
And that she even instructed him to not engage with the haters because of this so-called fame.
She would always tell me don't address the haters, we're supposed to be famous.
Which Jaxx, of course, did not agree with, as he does not see himself as famous. most people wouldn't.
I'm like, well, I'm not famous, so you can do that, but me personally, don't consider myself famous.
When public interest of his mom started to drop off, Jaxx said that he felt like it did mess with her somewhat.
What went wrong with her? I think, you know how, like, child stars will have all that fame and it goes to their head and then they, like, crash out when they're adult years? So I think that kind of, like, a similar thing happened with my mom, where she kind of had, like, fame and people kept asking about her and wanting to make news stories and wanting to do TV shows, and it went to her head a little bit. And then it kind of disappeared suddenly, very quickly. So, you know.
Jaxx also confirmed that he didn't enjoy being in her content.
I don't think we really got to know who you were as a person. Yeah, well, I kind of didn't really want to be on my mom's TikToks. So when she'd do her lives and stuff, it was kind of like, she's going live again. So.
Nor did his siblings, at least not the older ones.
Do my siblings like being on my mom's social media? I don't really think any of us really were too keen on it. And quite a few of the older kids didn't want to be filmed.
And that they were absolutely guilt-tripped and blackmailed into participating in Aunt Mildred's TikTok videos.
Did she force or guilt-trip you guys into making TikTok videos? She would say she didn't. Did your mom ever let you have the option of not being in videos? Yeah, the option that she let, but low-key guilt-tripping.
And that she pressured them into doing it because that's how they make money.
She okay with you guys not filming? Yes and no. She'd be like, you don't have to do it, but it's how we make money, and we need you, and that she was just like kind of guilt trip about it, like low-key.
Jaxx even said that they were offered a reality TV show at one point, but it didn't go through for whatever reason.
Were you guys ever offered a recurring TV show? We were offered a TV show a couple times, but it never really went through.
Which, honestly, was probably for the best. Especially given that we now know that multiple reality TV shows looked the other way when it came to abuse. Like in the case of Kate+8 and Here Comes Honey Boo Boo. Jaxx also said that he didn't like the fact that they were frequently recognized in public.
Do you get recognized in public? In New York I did. My siblings and I were at the mall and we went to Claire's and the lady was like, oh my god, are you guys, you know, this man mama's kids? And we were like, yeah.
As he felt like the media attention turned his family into a sort of zoo exhibit.
How do you feel about the news articles written on your family? I was a little uncomfortable by it, especially because I feel like a lot of people were just being like, I don't know, treating us like kind of a zoo exhibit in a way.
Nor did he particularly enjoy the fact that his mother allowed foreign film crews into their home.
People video it inside your house. Yeah, we had people from other countries come in and they were like, to literally everything, and it was like, awesome, we're being filmed. So it was a little bit stressful.
And then it got to the point where he needed to take a break from social media.
Yeah, I changed my name. I took a very long break from social media for a minute there because I was in a rough spot mentally after everything kind of like blew up, and then I was on TikTok and I was on news articles and people were in my house taking videos of everything, and I was just like, you know what, I just needed to like distance myself, and then I came back and here we are. So yeah, I can only imagine. As for the whole offspring thing, Jaxx said that his mother only started calling them that because of TikTok. What were some of the things she did only for TikTok? Call us her offspring. She didn't start doing that until TikTok, and we just kind of looked at each other like, alright.
Which he said that he and his siblings also felt was super weird.
I always thought offspring was so weird. Yeah, we thought that was weird too, but someone said it in a comment or something, I think, and then she was trying to be funny and started associating us as offspring, and it just kind of came off as really off-putting.
It's also why he started calling her birth giver in his own content.
Yeah, that's why in my videos I called her birth giver. Because I was kind of making a job at her calling us offspring.
That said, Aunt Mildred was at least willing to respect his wishes when it came to not filming his daughter.
Did she give me a hard time about not showing my baby's face on TikTok? Nope. She was a little sad, but no.
As Jaxx told his mother from the start of his pregnancy that he did not want his baby to be exploited on her platform.
Did your mom try to fight you not having your kid on social media? No, because I told her throughout my entire pregnancy that I was not going to post her online. So by the time she was born, my mom was already aware that she wasn't going to be posted.
That, of course, didn't stop her from trying to convince him to let her film the baby anyway, though, as Jaxx says that she made multiple suggestions on how she could hide the child's face, all of which he rejected.
She was disappointed a little bit and kept trying to be like, oh, just hide her face, just do this, just do that. And I was like, or I could just leave her off the internet. So it actually, I did have a couple posts with my daughter, but her face wasn't in them, but then I deleted them after I kept seeing videos of people saying that, like, predators were taking videos of kids, even innocent ones, and, like, AIing them. And I was like, yeah, I'm taking my kid off completely. No, not even face pics. You know what I mean?
As for his childhood, growing up, Jaxx said that his mother used to treat him more like a sister/best friend than as a mother with their child.
What was it like having a young mom? Interesting. She always kind of referred to me as like her little bestie or her sister instead of her daughter or her kid back when I was younger, you know what I mean? And it was like interesting to me.
And that when he was a teenager, she would even get jealous when he spent time with his friends over her.
The bestie sister angle is always a bright red flag. Yeah, she never really thought of herself as being like the mom. Like, when I was a teenager, she thought of herself as, like, my friend rather than my mother, so she would get kind of jelly when I wanted to hang out with my actual friends, and she'd be like, so I'm not your friend? No, you're my mother, so I would like to hang out with my friends.
He also agreed that Aunt Mildred definitely has a favorite age when it comes to her kids.
Do you think she has favorite ages rather than favorite kids? Yeah. I would think that that's probably accurate.
But wouldn't elaborate further on what he thought that age was. However, I can offer a guess to what that age might be, as a prevalent theory in Veronica's anti-community is that she prefers to spend time with her teens over the littles.
That's disgusting. That is so gross.
Stop. Yeah.
Are you recording me? Oh my god!
Hi. I put the meat in the fridge just because I don't want the cat eating it.
All the water went out my nose.
There's lunch meat in the fridge, so if anyone wants it.
Likely because she got pregnant at 14 and missed out on that period of her life, and etc., etc. Jaxx also said that his mother wasn't emotionally available as a parent.
Was my mother emotionally available as a parent? I wouldn't exactly say so.
And that she had a tendency to treat him like a therapist when he was younger.
Considering I was kind of like a little therapist for a while there.
Which, don't do that at all to your kids, please. When asked if he raised his siblings as much as his mother did, Jaxx said that it was hard to say, describing his mother, especially over the last 8 years, as being what he called a bedroom mom.
I'm 11 of 12 and wondering from the other end of, did you raise kids as much or more than she did? I don't know, it's hard to say in the sense because my mom, she was kind of a bedroom mom, if you catch my drift. For the last 8 years, I don't really know what happened there.
And that he tended to see his siblings more than she did.
We moved out of state and she became a bedroom mom, so basically I saw the kids kind of more, I guess.
Unless they sought her out in her room.
Unless they sought her out in her room.
And that his mother is still very much a bedroom mom even now.
Recently she's just kind of been a bedroom mom, so I don't know.
It's worth noting that later in this same stream, Jaxx would say that he did feel like a second mom to his siblings. So,
did you feel like a second mom to your siblings? Yes, I did.
This, folks, is why you don't parentify your kids.
My oldest has 11 younger siblings. When she was younger, she way too often had to help take care of them or clean up after messes that were not her responsibility. When she was around 16, I vowed to drastically cut back on how much I asked her to help around the house. So sometimes she'll still babysit for me. And I really wanted to show her my appreciation. So now, once a week, I babysit my granddaughter so that she can take a break.
Despite that, Jaxx insists that his mother wasn't always like this, that she actually used to be a good mom.
Is my mom a good mom? She was, long ass time ago, back when I was a kid.
He said that there was a time when she did do stuff with the kids, like arts and crafts and activities.
Did your mom actually spend time with you guys in the home? She used to do a lot of things with the kids. Like, she used to do arts and crafts over the holidays. She used to, like, actually genuinely spend time downstairs. Recently, she's just kind of been a bedroom mom.
And that Aunt Mildred has changed quite a bit over the last 8 years.
A lot of this shit was, like, within the last, like, 8-9 years. And then it just got progressively worse.
And that's the version of herself that she's still hanging on to.
I think she still thinks of herself as how she was, rather than where she's going. If that makes sense.
For example, when asked about his youngest 3 sisters destroying their bedroom last summer, Jaxx said it was because they lacked guidance.
Your mom made a video blaming the little girls for ruining their room. How can she blame the kids? Well, you know, kids are gonna ruin their room when they don't have proper guidance on how to clean it.
Adding that there were plenty of times he tried to help them clean their room.
I tried to get those girls to clean their rooms so many times, and I actually went in there myself and helped them clean it several times.
And that part of the problem was that it was because rules weren't really being enforced.
Because they weren't. Nobody really enforced any rules by the time, you know, we were there.
Later in the same stream, Jaxx would say that he felt like they kind of just raised themselves when talking about his siblings overall.
I think a lot of us raised ourselves, low-key.
That said, he didn't agree with the idea that his mother didn't prioritize her kids, as there was definitely a time when she did put her kids first, just not anymore.
Veronica always had issues with prioritizing you and her siblings. No.
And when asked if it was true that Jaxx and his siblings begged Aunt Mildred to have more kids, a claim that she has made multiple times on her platform, his response was a resounding no. None of them wanted her to keep having kids. As much as they loved the babies, no, absolutely not.
No, really, why did she say she viewed having more kids as a sacrifice she was doing for her kids? I don't know. I don't know. My mom was a little bit suspicious sometimes when it came to that, because, like, she really didn't need to keep having more kids. Like, I love my siblings. I really do. I love the littles so much. They are great.
And that he wasn't really sure why, after her 6th child, that she decided to have more, outside of it being a bizarre rebellion of some kinds.
Why did your mom have so many kids? Did she want a big family? I think that when around probably her 6th kid, she was content, and then all of a sudden she wanted to have, like, this rebellious streak where she had 6 more. I think she was good with 6, and she had a big family at 6, but then, like, I don't know.
Now, it is worth noting here that Aunt Mildred has said that her 6th pregnancy was the result of being forced by Marty. I'll let you fill in the blanks of what that means. And that after he forced her, she attempted to leave him, but said that the DV shelter wasn't supportive, so she ended up going back home. After that, Aunt Mildred claims that she had a vision about growing her family and decided it was her destiny or something. Whatever the case, according to Jaxx, by baby number 9, it was clear that Aunt Mildred's health was being negatively impacted each time she got pregnant. And not just negatively impacted, but endangered, like from blood clots and sepsis and other horrible, life-threatening things.
What was it like being the oldest of 12? It was interesting. Obviously, like, we loved all the little kids when, you know, they were born. Everybody loved the babies, but it was still kind of like eventually it got to the point where it was like, all right, Mom, please stop having more kids, because your health is taking a turn. But she did not, so.
And that because of this, nobody wanted her to keep getting pregnant, that it was something that she chose to do.
But it was a little bit odd when she was like, yeah, I just feel like I need to have another kid. What does that mean? Why do you feel like you need to have more when you already have 9 kids?
Jaxx was also unsure if his mother had any sort of prenatal care for her pregnancies, although I'm not 100% sure if that's what the original question was, as Jax's answer sounded like he was talking about himself, and then it sounded like he was talking about his mother overall, so I'm not actually sure.
Did she receive proper prenatal care with her pregnancies? Yeah. I think so.
Unclear. Jaxx also responded to his mother recently saying that she regretted having kids.
It made me so mad to hear her say she wished she never had kids recently. Imagine hearing that as the kid directly.
Which, by the way, ugh! And he also cleared up a claim that his mother had made about babysitting his daughter once a week back when he still lived with her.
Sometimes she'll still babysit for me. And you know, I really wanted to show her my appreciation. So now, once a week, I babysit my granddaughter so that she can take a break.
According to Jaxx, Aunt Mildred never babysitted her granddaughter.
Did she babysit your child once a week? No.
Usually because she was too busy making TikToks.
I asked her to babysit a few times and she was like, I'm busy, so making TikToks. I was like, oh, alright. I guess.
Nor was she a good grandmother in general, despite what she has tried to portray in her content.
Was she a good grandma? She could have been better.
And that she hasn't checked in on her granddaughter once since Jaxx moved out last November.
Does your mom ever check in on your daughter as a grandma? No. We left, I video chatted with my mom probably like 2 times. And that was about it. And she never really asked for updates or nothing like that. Kind of pissed me off.
What? There are no words. As for Aunt Mildred's mental health, Jaxx was pretty forward about it. He agreed that his mother's behavior has definitely been manic.
Do I think my mom is going through a manic episode? Yeah. Hope your mom can get some help. Yeah, she's been very manic. And I don't know what's going on there. This whole year has been a little bit wonky.
He was also of the opinion that her near-death experience has made her selfish.
I think her last near-death experience just kind of made her a little bit selfish. Not gonna lie. But...
He agreed that his mother is spiraling right now, and not in a good way.
Is my mom okay? I honestly think she's spiraling. I think she's manic. I think she's on a downward spiral, and I don't know.
And that he doesn't recognize the person his mother has become.
Last 4 years have been interesting, and then this year it's just been... Don't even really recognize who she is anymore.
Jaxx also agreed that Aunt Mildred has narcissistic tendencies, which he believes is from unmanaged borderline personality disorder.
I think she's a narcissist. I think she has narcissistic tendencies, but I think she's neurodivergent and BPD, is what I think.
Although he's not sure if she actually has borderline. That said, it is worth pointing out that Aunt Mildred did recently say that she has it in her comments. But whether that's an official diagnosis, though, is unclear. Jaxx also thinks that Veronica probably has autism and or ADHD.
Do you think she has autism? My mother, I think she may be autistic, yes. Right. But she didn't get tested for it, so I think she does have neurodivergency and ADHD and autism.
Which, from my armchair vantage point, yeah, I agree. I also think that Aunt Mildred has some form of neurodivergency coupled with complex PTSD and or borderline personality disorder, but I'm not an expert. Either way, Jaxx agreed that his mother is currently delulu.
Do you think she just got delusions with motherhood? She got delusions with a lot of things, unfortunately.
And that it took him a really long time to realize that about her.
Your mama is delulu, yeah. It took me a long time to realize that she was delulu a little bit.
Jaxx also could not say definitively whether Aunt Mildred had intentionally overdosed on Tylenol.
Was the overdose an accident? Maybe. I wasn't there.
And later, with just a shrug, reiterating that he wasn't at home when it happened.
Was the OD intentional? I wasn't at home when it happened.
Given that throughout this live stream, Jaxx was willing to confirm certain things, his decision to be ambiguous here stood out to me, as I think if he truly believed that it was an accident, he would have just said so outright. So, the fact that he didn't stands out. It's just glaring, especially given that he has said outright that her behavior this year overall has been out-of-pocket weird.
I think my mom's struggling mentally. Probably. I wouldn't be surprised. She's been a little bit off this year.
Now, earlier in this video, Jaxx confirmed that Veronica has been focused on men and her romantic life, including after her coma.
Because I would ask her questions about it and she would just like not really answer me, you know what I mean? So she would like avoid it and be like, so this guy, and I'd be like, Lord, can you just answer the question I asked?
And that he hated the fact that she was interested in men while her children are currently in foster care.
What's your opinion on my mom going out and dating while her kids are in foster care? Oh, I hate it.
Which, understandable, because again, the fuck? He also expressed the opinion that his mother likely has low self-esteem based on the kinds of men she's previously been with, which I agree with, because ew.
I think my mom does have low self-esteem because all the dudes that she's with is, you know what I mean? So, I don't know.
He also agreed with a commenter about his mother being the sort of person who feels like they need to always be with a man.
My mom used to be like that, only a man, yeah. Yeah.
And that his mother is also desperate.
Do I think my mom is desperate for a man? Dare I say, possibly.
Which he explained is because Aunt Mildred is a romantic at heart, who feels like she can't be fulfilled for some reason, despite the fact that she has literally 12 children.
She's got like this weird like sense of like romance and love. And I don't know why it's like she feels like she can't be fulfilled, even though she's got 12 kids. But she needs like a man's or whatever. Like, girl, you need to focus on yourself. Not a man.
None of which, by the way, is particularly surprising to me, at least, because Veronica has been actively dating on and off for the last 2 years or so. For instance, she was likely with her childhood friend Nate when she overdosed on Tylenol back in June, as he was one of the people who sent her messages when she was in a coma, and who she later tried to claim was a hallucination. We also know that Aunt Mildred has been going out with friends on and off since being released from the hospital, including her childhood friend Nate, and we know that her possible roofer might be another potential romantic interest. So, I think it's safe to say that Aunt Mildred's anti-community was dead on the money in this respect. She has absolutely been focusing on her love life over her children. Yikes! Folks were also curious to know if Jaxx thought Aunt Mildred was intentionally lying to her audience or making excuses for her lack of movement in resolving her current situation. And to this, Jaxx said that he didn't feel like she was.
How do you feel about your mom making excuses or everything? I don't know if she thinks of it as making excuses. I think she's just like explaining stuff and she rambles too much.
But rather that she just tends to ramble and talk herself in circles, much to her own detriment.
I think the biggest lie my mom tells the public. I'm not really sure. I don't think my mom necessarily lies. I think she just rambles. She doesn't. I always tell her to end her stories and sentences a sentence earlier, and she just spews stuff out, and she doesn't stop talking. And sometimes she talks in circles because she doesn't stop sometimes.
Although he did admit that he also doesn't really watch her TikToks anymore.
You know what I mean? I don't know if any, like, I'm not sure, because I don't watch her TikToks.
Despite his insistence that his mother doesn't lie and just talks in circles.
I don't think she necessarily lied. I think she just talks too much. I think that some things that she's very, like, it's hard to say what's necessarily a lie and what's not. I don't know.
Jaxx would inadvertently confirm multiple lies throughout this live stream, whether he realized it or not, like the fact that his mother actually never paid him back, despite saying she did, and that his mother claimed to have babysat his daughter once a week. He also confirmed that Veronica's insistence that her abusive ex-husband, Marty, had moved out after she ended the marriage in 2021 was not true. Yep. Turns out he was in the house the entire time for 3 years.
Oh, did her ex really live in the basement? Well, yeah. He wasn't supposed to. Excuse me, I don't know what that was. He wasn't supposed to. He was supposed to move out, but...
Meaning that Aunt Mildred has been lying about Marty getting his own apartment, and that likely all of his visits with their kids were not supervised like she previously claimed. I mean, we kind of assumed that she was bending the truth on what supervised meant to begin with, but yeah. Regarding his stepdad, Jaxx didn't mince words, stating outright that Marty should be in jail in his opinion.
Where is my stepdad? I don't fucking know. In hell? Hopefully, I don't know. He should be in jail.
Now, Jax's confirmation of Marty living in the basement for obvious reasons was an upsetting revelation. Even if it wasn't surprising, it was still super upsetting. Because according to comments Jaxx made back in June, Aunt Mildred knew about Marty's child SA accusations at least as early as 2020, 2021-ish. It's allegedly one of the catalysts that led to her leaving him.
By the time I found out the truth, what kind of person he actually is, I was already pregnant with my youngest and devastated, and then Donnie was diagnosed with cancer, and everything was just so scary, and I just didn't know what to do.
Aunt Mildred also recently admitted that she didn't believe the accusations at the time.
You know, and then to find out what he did was like, you gotta be kidding me, that can't be true. That's ridiculous, that's crazy. I didn't want to believe it.
In other words, Aunt Mildred knowingly left her minor children in the care of a child predator for years after learning of the accusations, as she was actively relying on Marty for childcare up until December 2023. She even allowed him to drive the family down to North Carolina for Andrew's graduation from boot camp last November, which Jaxx said he had no idea why Marty was invited or permitted to go to, by the way.
To keep contact with my brother that is in the service, yes. Why was he invited? I ask myself that every day. I don't fucking know. I really don't. I don't. I wish he hadn't been.
This revelation also supports why Aunt Mildred only recently started to complain about not knowing how to do anything.
I just don't have a lawnmower. And I know I could get like a used one, but I mean, how do I know? I don't even know how to start a lawnmower. This is just not something I've done before. My ex used to do that stuff, and you know, I've never mowed the lawn before. I don't know how to start a lawnmower. I can barely turn on a lighter.
Because she said her ex did everything from mowing the lawn to paying the bills.
So I've never actually set foot in this building. My ex used to take care of, like, you know, going in and taking care of the water bill or whatever, so.
And it's likely why she has made many remarks about wishing that she had a man around to help her do stuff. Because up until this year, she did have someone around to help her. Her ex, aka abuser. Worse, Aunt Mildred has been misleading her audience about Marty and his involvement in their family this entire time. And while yes, she is also a victim of his abuse and her experiences as a DV survivor are valid, it's the fact that after ending her marriage with her abuser, after publicly claiming he moved out and that he only saw the kids through supervised visits, and after talking about his abuse on her monetized platform while actively dating, by the way, she still allowed him to be in her life and the lives of her children. She still allowed him to live in that house and have access to her children. And that's the part that doesn't sit right with me, because the possibility of harm that could have occurred because of that decision is bone-chilling. Just even think about. It's just horrifying. Now, of course, we don't know who reported Marty, nor do we know who his victim was, let alone how many there were, when it occurred, or where. We have no idea. And even if we knew, even if I did know, I would never publish that information because it's not our business and it's icky. But the fact that something has happened at all and that Veronica continued, Aunt Mildred continued to give him access to her children, knowing that something may have happened, is just so gross, and it's hard to defend in my opinion. So yeah, bit of a heavy note to leave this on, but what do you guys think? You guys think of just everything? Let me know down below, I guess. Anyway, that's it for me. I want to thank everyone for liking, commenting, and subscribing, with a big, big thank you to my mods and members. As always, you guys are rad. And I'll catch you in the next one. Bye!